Hello students, welcome to BTech 360. Over the last couple of days, I've got a lot of questions from parents who, on a WhatsApp number that I opened up, which essentially is the kind of percentile that they got, which is 70, 80 percentile, and they were not trying to ask the question on the YouTube channel that we had, but are sending messages and calls separately, and especially talking of the lower percentile and what is the next best options. And that I think is very, very important because 95 percentile and above, you only have 60,000 students all put together, right? But there are a lot of people below who really need career guidance and counseling also. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to spend a little bit more time in giving you the options for those who need to have a plan B or a second level plan, because the only plan cannot be that I'll get into IIT, NIT and IIIT, and especially so because there are many branches in even IITs where it's not getting placed. So you should be very careful about choosing the branch in the college and not going by the college name and hoping that the college name will get you a job. It's not going to happen. Even in IITs, you actually have 55-60% placement for some of the branches. You must know that. And I'm talking the top tier IITs like IIT Bombay, Madras and Delhi also. You actually have 50-60% placement for some of the branches. So you must be very careful about that. Now, why am I recommending so many universities to you? I'm not saying you must apply to all the 12. What I'm saying is simple. That for people who are getting anything less than 95 percentile, start working on your plan B. Start working on your plan B. At this point in time, you're only applying for them. And maybe some of them also have home proctored entrance examinations. So while preparing for JEE, appear for that also. Right? Appear for the examination. Your choice of whether you'll go join one of these colleges or not depends on how the other examinations work for you. If you're getting into one of these IITs, IIITs, NITs and all, please go there. But keep your options open. Don't suddenly start panicking once those exams are over, JEE is over and you do get not a decent rank. When I hope you do get a good rank, then you start panicking and you don't have any options. That is where the problem is, because these entrance examination deadlines happen while you're still preparing for the JEE examination, which is in April. And some of them close their application deadline also, and which is where the problem is. And a lot of students, once they don't get a good rank, they start searching for them and they realize that the application deadline is over. Which is where I'm saying, please apply for these examinations also. And whether you want to appear for the examination, first is application, then appearance. Then once the admission rank happens, then you make a choice of whether you want to go there or admit yourself or not, right? All these are independent things. But the primary thing is apply and keep it there. Now, having said that, what are the options that you have beyond the JEE JOSA counseling? So let's talk of beyond JOSA counseling, what's the option? I'm listing out a few examinations. Some of you would know that, but I'll give you some data so that you understand what's a competitive scenario that you have. For example, you take BITS Pilani or BITSAT examination. BITSAT has 3 campuses, Goa, Hyderabad and Pilani, which is in Rajasthan. And they also take it for Dubai campus. There are 4 campuses all put together. Last year, they claim about 2.25 lakh kind of application. In fact, very recently, they also talked of is 100% scholarship for meritorious, but students who cannot afford to pay. Now, that's a very, very good thing. Whenever an institution is trying to get students need blind in terms of giving 100% scholarship, if assuming you were to get an admission in that, it will always have very, very good quality students chasing that out, and which is what BITS Pilani is. And all of you would obviously be looking at BITS Pilani very carefully. Their intake is about 4,500 students every year. And last year they claimed 2.5 lakh. Their median salary last year was 18 lakh rupees based on the 23-24 NRF data. In the sense that's a placement that happened in 24. We still don't have the data for 25. So 18 lakhs is the average salary. So for sure, all of you must keep BITS Pilani or BITSAT examination as the first option. Then you have the VIT University. Now VIT, the problem that I have at times is that their intake is very, very large. So to that extent, if you are joining VIT in the category 2 or category, so in VIT there are 4-5 variables. You should know that. What are the 4-5 variables? You will get a campus of your choice, in a branch of your choice, in category 1, which means the best fee that is possible, the lowest fee that's possible. But there are other variables that open up, because there might be that you might actually get a campus not of your choice, but a branch of your choice in a tier, which is, they actually have tiered fee structure. It starts with 1.5 to 2 lakh rupees and goes up to 5.5, 6 lakh rupees possibly. So the thing is that at a certain level, VIT is worth it. And beyond this thing, then you must start looking at what are the other options that you have. And the reason why I say this is, just imagine that you're spending about 30-40 lakh rupees on not a campus of your choice, not a branch of your choice, then it might not be the right way for you to go ahead, right? So from that perspective, you must look at VIT. VIT for sure is worth it up to a certain point. And the other thing that you must remember is, with the kind of large intake that you have, we are actually dealing with, the bottom half possibly getting into the TCS, Infosys, Wipro kind of a thing. And mind you, there the salary structure is 3.5 lakh rupees and so on and so forth. So if that is the case, if you're ultimately ending up getting into this large institution and then getting a job there, it may not well be the right place for you in a certain sense. Having said that, VIT University is a very good university for all of you. If you're getting into the tier 1 category in the Vellore campus and you're getting the branch of your choice, then it is very, very good. But if you get into a tier 2 or tier 3, it starts getting into a question mark because of the kind of placements that you may or may not get. There are also students who are getting 30, 40, 50 lakh salaries from VIT. But there are also a lot of students who are getting the 3.5 lakh, 4 lakh kind of a salary. Their median salary, by the way, is 8.99 lakh is what they claim. This is NRF data that we're talking of. And their intake is 8,160 across the Chennai and Vellore campus, because I'm talking of VIT University. But the important thing is for the VIT Vellore campus, right? VIT AP is different, VIT Bhopal is different. And that is what you need to understand, that when you're dealing with VIT University, you're dealing with Vellore campus as a primary thing, and then the Chennai campus, and Bhopal and Andhra are a totally different game altogether. So you must understand that, though the VIT examination is the only single path that you can get into any of these 4 campuses, right? And in all, if I have to look at it, if you just look at VIT Vellore University, it's 8,160 is the intake that they have based on the 23-24 data of AQAR. So 24, 25, 25, 26, again, we don't have data. In my opinion, between these 2 campuses only, there will be about 10,000 kind of an intake at this point in time. And add Amravati and Bhopal, you're dealing with about 15,000-16,000 kind of an intake just for BTech. Now that is a large number for you to place. And there are reports about Bhopal also in a different way. So you should be very cautious of, you should apply for VIT, you should take the VIT examination, but you should be very careful about which branch, which campus, and what fee that you're about to pay. That is what should be a determinant, right? So what I'm giving you the list of examinations at this point in time that you must appear. So I talked of BITSAT, you must apply for that. You must apply for VIT examination and apply for that and take the examination also. And once you get a college and a branch of your choice, then you can decide whether you want to join there or not. The choice of joining a college comes in after the admission letter comes, not when you're applying for that. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. The third one, of course, is SRM University, which is in Chennai again. Again, they also have a large intake. They actually have the Katangattu campus, which is the main campus that they have. Then they have the Ramapuram campus. They have something in Trichy. They have SRM AP is a very, very good university that's coming up in Andhra, in Amravati. Now, if you're getting SRM AP, you must take it because it's a very good, well-researched, research-driven university. And then, of course, they have Ghaziabad and Sonepat also, right? So the thing is, again, their intake also is very, very large. The reason why I'm giving you this 5-7 examinations or 10 examinations is the intake that all of them take is so high that you must always have some kind of an option of, if you're not getting here, you might get into these things because of the large intake and the quality and the legacy that these institutions have left for the last 30, 40, 50 years. So one of them is SRM University. In fact, for VIT last year, the application numbers was about 2.224 lakh for the 12,000 seats between VIT University only. But if you add the other ones, right, which is Bhopal and Amravati, it might jump up to 15,000-16,000 seats. So you still have a fair chance of getting in at 2.24 lakh applications, mind you. And by the way, a lot of students who take JEE also take BITSAT and VIT and SRM University and Amrita and Manipal and all. So you should also be very clear that the chances that you'll get in here are slightly better because some of the students will jump onto a IIT, NIT, IIIT and just go on from there. So the third examination I'm recommending is SRM University. The fourth one, of course, is Manipal University. Manipal has again they take about 4,000 students only in the Manipal campus. Then now off late they've also opened the Bangalore campus. So between the two, in my opinion, they'll be taking about 5,500-6,000 seats just for BTech. And from that perspective, again, it's a good thing. Their median salary last year in 23-24 has been 8.5 lakh, which is decent at a median salary with the kind of what I'm saying is the kind of intake that they have. Now the placement percentage is 78%. So 78% of the students who joined Manipal institutions have been placed. In the case of VIT, it is 86%. The fifth one that I'm recommending is Amrita University. Amrita has an examination called AEEE, which is Amrita Engineering Entrance Test. Now that is something that you must appear. And the reason why I'm saying this is they have a 93% placement ratio and their median salary is 7.75 lakh rupees. So the median salary comes down a bit, but the placement percentage actually has shot up. Their intake is about 9,000 plus seats is what I understand. They have about 10 campuses, by the way. The way Amrita, of course, has Coimbatore and Kochi, but beyond that, they have a campus in Bangalore, in Chennai, in Mysore, in Faridabad, they have a campus. They have one in Amravati. They have something in Nagarkoil. So they have about 10 campuses, if I remember correctly. So because of that, the intake is higher and you have a fair chance of getting into one of those things. Here also, I say the same thing that, you must choose the branch and the campus that you're getting in and make the choice. We will talk about it in a much greater detail at some point in time. But more importantly, you should know that Amrita. So ensure that you apply for all these examinations, right? Whether you want to take the examination or not is a different thing altogether, but you must apply for the examinations. The sixth one is COMEDK, which is applicable for all colleges in Karnataka. Last year, about 1,13,000 students appeared for this examination. Right, and all the private colleges in Karnataka, some of them are very, very good. You take RV College, BMS College, MS Ramaiah College, and so on and so forth. They're extremely good colleges, and if you get in there through the COMEDK route, which is very, very good because it's merit-based in a certain sense, right? The fee might be slightly different for people who are coming through COMEDK as compared to KSET, which is the State Entrance Engineering Examination. But the colleges there are very good, and they guarantee a student outcome or reassure a student outcome far more than many of the other national institutions. So we must look at that. Then people in North and otherwise also, you must look at Shivnada University. They have their own examination called SNU entrance test. And this is conducted by Pearson, if I'm not wrong. And this is a good college because again, it's a NEET blind college. It does a good job. It's owned by the HCL group and they do a very, very good job of themselves. So that's another entrance examination that you must be looking for. The other one is Shastra University. Shastra has his own examination called SUSAT. They also take students from 12th marks and JEE also, is what I understand. So I don't know whether they actually have an examination, but you must apply for Shastra University if you're not done that. It is in Tamil Nadu again, but a very good college in terms of the way they work with the students. Then of course Christ University in Bangalore. That's another examination. They actually have CUET, which is Christ University Entrance Test. You must also apply for that if possible. And the 10th one that I'm recommending is MIT World Peace University, which is in Maharashtra. So now this is based in Pune actually. So this is another examination that you must be looking at. Besides that, a couple of more if you still want. Geetam University has an entrance examination, which is, Geetam is based in Vizag, Vishakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh. One of the universities which has been there for the last 30, 40, 50 years and does a very, very good job of themselves. So Geetam is one of them. I think they have an exam called GITI, which is Geetam entrance examination or something. So that is something. And KL University also has an examination called KLE, which is KL Engineering Entrance Examination, KLEEE. Don't lose out just because you were reckless, you were negligent, and you didn't even apply for these examinations. That is my only want at this point in time. So this is where I stand. If you have any questions on what these examinations or what are your other options, which is plan B that you have, I will take them up because I think very crucial for me to actually start addressing that question also, right? It's very important for students to understand what are the other options beyond the NITs, IIITs and GFTIs, because ultimately all put together the seats there are about lakh, all put together including GFTs and all. But I need to deal with the other things, right? And that is where I'm trying to step in with the other options that you have, because in India you have about 2 million students wanting to pursue engineering. The seats that you have in the public institutions are about lakh. Then you need to start dealing with the other 1.9 lakh students, and that is where my objective is. That is where I think there is greater need for counseling and greater need for clarity, which is what I am doing. If you have any questions, please write to me on the message box here and I'll be happy to respond to that. And by the way, please subscribe to Career 360 if you've not done that. Please like, assuming you like it, like that thing also, because I've got far too many questions, and while I still want greater approval from you in terms of you subscribing for the channel and the channel growing, because we're trying to do everything that we can so that you get into the best college possible. But for that, we also need to understand that you are liking what we're creating as content and you're approving of what we do. Thank you so much. Namaste.